This episode of the Rawder Kidula Show is proudly brought to you by JK Studios. JK Studios, capturing every moment. Coming up on the Rodah Kidula Show.
Levi, how are you surviving? What's the worst thing about long distance marriage?
The nights are long.
The nights are long.
I sleep less.
Oh, because you have to wake up, talk to her?
It's not even just that.
Yeah.
There is a way when you have been living with someone for 10 years and they're now not there, that just totally destabilizes you.
Yes.
In fact, I really, really sympathize with people who have lost spouses.
Oh, yeah.
This is the Rodah Kidula Show.
Hello once again and welcome back to the Rodah Kidula Show. Excited. I'm really excited. You always know when I'm too excited for a show, and this is one of those days. First things first, thank you so much for your support so far. Thank you so much for subscribing and just showering me with your love through your feedback. And shout out to JK Studios, the ones recording this show. So if you need any videography or photography done professionally, capturing every moment, please talk to JK Studios. They are the best. Today I'm here with my husband's friend. I come from way back with my husband, right?
Way back. Yeah.
Please introduce yourself to our audience before I...
Yeah, so my name is LEVI KONES. Some people call me Levi.
Why?
Depends on where you went to school, really. If you went to a school that is not a polling station, you can call me Levi.
Levi.
But if your school is used as a polling station, yeah?
Levi.
Levi. I think my parents were trying to make me a tax collector back in the days. I don't know how they came up with that name. But I'm a husband of one very lovely lady called Wangeshi. I'm a father of 3 very beautiful girls. I am an author. Nowadays I say that.
Oh yeah, he's an author.
I'm a journalist by profession, and I am a lover of God.
Wow.
And I like to think of myself as a positive influencer.
You are.
Yes.
And I love you guys should follow him on Facebook. Facebook is your place.
Facebook seems to, although I'm on TikTok also.
Serious? We are on TikTok.
Imagine I joined TikTok out of a dare, sort of. And I garnered around 10,000 viewers in like a short while. But I've been lazy. You know, there's that whole thing of, you know, you have to post every day. If you really want to garner, you know, traction. And sometimes that's not possible with the kind of lives we are leading. Yeah. So I think that's where I'm losing out. But please post. You have a teen girl. Yeah.
Give them that job.
But it's an interesting place to be.
It is. Yes. And it has so many strangers. Even me, sometimes I'm like, who are these people following me? And they're Nigerians, South Africans, but we thank God because we're able to impact people all over. I just love the way you share your stories. And I was asking if there are people who think you share too much.
Well, nobody has told me I share too much. Maybe too long.
Too long?
Yeah.
I love the long ones.
They'll say long posts. You know, we live in a generation where people just want you, say in 2 words. Tweet it.
Yeah, you know? Tweet it. 3 sentences.
Somebody will even come and write there too long. Somebody will ask you and summarize.
Allah. And you're a storyteller, you are an author. That's why you prefer just writing for us, you know.
But I do believe that the bulk of the people my age and maybe say 30 above, they're reading.
Yeah, you know? We are reading. Yeah. We are reading what you're writing. Yeah. And you gave us, I don't even know, when you're hosting a friend, you don't know where to start.
They start anywhere.
I don't know. I just don't know. You have so much. I know why I really wanted to talk to you. Yeah. Because you allowed, let me say allowed because it is, you allowed your wife to go abroad.
Yes.
How long have you been married?
I've been married now, I would say, in church since 2015. But really, we got together in 2013.
Okay.
But we had a bit of hitches before that wedding.
Yeah.
We had the traditional lead up to the wedding was very difficult for us. There was a lot of, how do I put it?
Opposition?
Yes, from my home.
Your people?
It's in my new book, actually.
It's in your new book, and you shared your story with your wife as well?
Yeah, and there was a lot of opposition, and it took us a while for us to get to the altar. So we did that in 2015,
and my husband was in your lineup.
Yes, your husband was in lineup. And he was not married. I think he got inspired.
Yeah, he got inspired. Yeah, I told you, him and my husband go way back. You knew him before I did, so.
Yeah,
you know him.
Then we were working for Fish FM.
Yeah, you're working in Eldoret.
Back in Eldoret.
Yeah.
Do you know, let me say, I always say, those were not the best days of our lives in terms of how much money we made.
Yeah, we didn't make anything.
They were the best days of our lives. I like that.
You are not making anything.
But imagine those were the best days of our lives. In terms of like the service.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and ile kujitolea.
Yeah.
People were really giving of themselves. And everybody who works in that era in the radio industry, then in gospel, really they were doing it out of service to God.
And now they're very hardworking people.
Yes.
Very responsible, hardworking people. Even the ones at Hope FM
Even the ones at Hope FM. I think God...
Patroba, Jackton. You know.
Yeah.
Especially the men.
Patroba and I hosted a show together at some point. Jackton also, he the same. And there was a period of time where it seemed we were all in the wilderness. But imagine the Lord delivers.
Oh, yeah. He does.
From all circumstances. I look at them now and I'm like, wow.
Wow.
You know.
Everyone has a kitambi, in short. You know. They're doing well.
That's terrible.
Especially, except Patroba. Will they watch this? They should. So,
but Patroba got married the other day.
Yeah, all of them are married. It's coming. So, you can actually get Levi's story on Shared Moments with Justus. I saw you there talking about how you came from the US.
Yes. That's
a really interesting story. You guys should go watch. And about your marriage, we can get that on the same platform as well.
On the same platform.
Yeah, he's actually with the wife. Shared Moments with Justus right here on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube. Today, I just want to talk to this guy because he allowed his wife to go abroad to study.
Yeah.
And you have been left with 3 kids.
Yes.
Oh, one is an adult.
Well,
but still a child.
Wouldn't like to be called a kid, that one. I should be very defiant on that one. But you know, they're all my children. The journey to that happening started a while back. It was after I met my wife. At that point in time, she was working at Royal Media.
Yeah, yeah.
And she then only had a certificate to her name.
Oh.
And you know, that time she told me about her desire to have gone to school to further her education. Personally, I'm not interested in going back to the classroom. I'm not one of those guys, you know.
Which was your last class?
Been there, done that. Got the t-shirt. Okay, there are some people who are interested. Who want to go and, I mean, I say more power to you. If you really want to go, I mean, go for the sky.
Yeah.
You know, my wife was one of those ones. And she felt like her life had been curtailed because at that moment when I met her, she was a widow and had 2 children. And her mother had also passed away, and the mother had actually been in her care. So she spent a lot of time taking care of her mom. An opportunity had come for her to actually go to the same Australia to study, but she had her visa denied because of lack of funds. But she expressed it. So what happened was she started at KIM, at KIM here in Nairobi. She went back to school shortly after she got a diploma, and I was actually very encouraged to find that she was actually working very hard towards it and passed very well. In between that time when she was studying for this particular diploma, I got unwell. That was the period where I got cancer. And my wife, between taking care of me, handling the issues with chemotherapy at that point in time, and even I had to go to India at some point, she still managed to ace her exams.
Wow.
So when she went for the higher diploma, it looked like the path was already set for her to go and study. This idea of Australia actually came about last year when I think it was around August or so. One of our cousins went abroad to study at the very same university where my wife is right now. And she actually was just about a year older than her. You know, sometimes you can think your years have gone so far.
Until you meet someone
who's older and has gone to study and has left the children. And it seemed like they were doing well. And then my wife said, you know, let me see this university. So we were introduced to the gentleman who helped her get there.
Yeah.
We looked at the university, made an application. You know, the visa process is so long and tedious. And you're not so sure you'll get it. There was always the worry of whether she will be able to get it or not, given the fact that she had not gotten it before.
Yeah.
You know, remember I told you in 2008 alijaribu, it didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't work.
But let me tell you, God's timing is God's timing. This time she got it. And when she got it, to be honest, between the time we applied and the time she got it, we had discussed what would happen, you know, if she went, but I don't think ilikuwa imenigonga vizuri.
Yeah, she's leaving the country.
The day she got the visa was like she got it like today, and she needed to be in school in 10 days.
Ooh, you have 10 days.
I'm telling you, I didn't sleep. For the first time, it hit me. Wow, she's
going.
Like it's true.
And I'm being left here with 3 children.
I'm being left here with 3 children. Hey. I remember those days. In fact, you know, a number of people will advise you and tell you, oh, you know, how dare you leave a wife to go, you know what happens, blah, 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 blah. I think there was a point at which when she left, even some bloggers picked it up and threw it on the net, and people really said things.
Yes.
Sometimes I read some of those things and sometimes I just decide, you know what?
They're not worth your time.
They're not worth, you are applying your energy and your mental states to. So when she left, of course, we had already discussed about how I would take care of the children.
And you have an 8-to-5 job.
And I have an 8-to-5 job, yes. And I'm busy writing books.
Yeah, you're busy writing books.
Yeah. So my children are 22, 15 now, and 9 years
and
old.
9.
Now, the 22-year-old is in college, right here in Nairobi. And she's actually a boarder. Okay. But many weekends she's at home. Yeah. And the 15-year-old is in boarding school.
Oh, in high school.
But then the 9-year-old is the one who is in primary and still
at home.
Needs constant attention at home.
Yes.
You know. And so mommy is leaving and daddy is going to be a solo. And you know, people give you all manner of advice, but there's nothing that prepares you for the road until the rubber
hits the road. Yes.
And then you start discovering things that you never knew.
Like?
Like, for example, I had no idea that children ate fruits every week in my house.
Every week?
They ate fruits. Yani, my wife was always buying fruits. Until you know, me, after my wife left, you know, you're expecting umenua bread, nini, and then you hear your daughter saying, but there are no bananas today. Then you realize, oh, they're always there. Yeah, okay. And then I began to discover that you don't just buy them from anywhere.
Yes. There's a specific place for bananas. There's a place for apples.
You buy them here and they're too expensive.
Yes.
So initially, nilichomeka, although I'd been given advice, but I began to get the hang of it. I began realizing that, you know, like my child would go to school and after some weeks, I noticed she became a little bit depressed. Actually, the teacher called me and told me, this child is not very happy. And so I sat down to talk to her. And in talking to her and trying to pull out information from a small child, I realized that the issue wasn't so much that
mommy is not around.
It's what mommy used to ask. Mommy used to ask her, what have you eaten today?
Oh,
who are your friends?
How was your day?
You know, me, I pay for school lunch, and I think that's okay.
And you're done.
You know, mommy would pay attention to how her hair is looking.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you don't have oil. Even when she calls, by the way, even on FaceTime, she'll be like, what's happening to your hair? And I've been right there personally.
Not noticed that there's something not happening.
And I have not said anything. So those are the little things that I began to find out that, you know, you cannot replace someone's mother.
Yes. And has it made you respect her more?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
She just doesn't do nothing in that house.
No, you should see the messages I write to her. Very nice things nowadays. I'm like, hey. Great and powerful woman. How are you doing? You know this.
But Levi, how are you surviving? What's the worst thing about long distance marriage?
The nights are long.
The nights are long?
I sleep less.
Oh. Because you have to wake up, talk to her?
It's not even just that.
Yeah.
There is a way when you have been living with someone for 10 years and they're now not there. That just totally destabilizes you.
Yes.
In fact, I really, really sympathize with people who have lost spouses.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how they manage. You know, after my wife left the country, a lot of the space even in our wardrobe is her clothes still. Imagine that's how many clothes. Alienda na manguo mingi.
Oh, so it's a bit empty.
Na bado ameoccupy nusu. And I didn't change anything. So you know, when you are pangaing your stuff, you're always like delicate to make sure that that side still remains the same. And sometimes you pause on things because there are some decisions that require you to check with, but because of time difference, sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
Those are the tough things that make you. There's a loneliness that kicks in that regard. You sort of feel like for your children, they feel it, but this wasn't really their roommate.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
this is my roommate, you know.
Yeah, so those I would say would be the
toughest moments
the
in long distance.
Another hard moment would be like one time she got lost.
In Australia?
Yes, she called me and she's telling me she's lost.
Now, how are you supposed to help?
Now, I really want to, but...
How?
You know, that feeling of helplessness.
Oh,
you know, if it was Nairobi here, you're lost, I'd be asking you, what's a building, what's a what? But you know, the feeling of that sometimes there are things that are happening to her and that I can't do anything about.
Oh.
You know.
I know that part.
Yeah? So that's also very, very, like and then if she tells me, she'll have to explain, you know, this place, like this, like this, like this. So it's more of an introduction. It takes away from that helping her have the feeling. To you now, it's like telling someone to understand the joke in another language.
Oh, yeah. You know, don't even get it at all.
You don't actually get it. You might laugh, ha, 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 but really, you're not there.
But you knew all this is going to happen. You were ready.
Who's ready? You know, we say we are ready. Well, are you ready?
No.
You know, we tell ourselves we are ready.
Yeah.
It's easy to say you're ready. And then
until it happens.
You can't leave the experience until the experience is here. Maybe the only thing you're ready for is the fact that someone is going to travel.
Yes.
But as to what it means after they travel,
the ride back home.
Yeah.
After you take her to the airport.
Yeah.
Describe going back home.
Ooh, it was quiet.
Yeah.
It was quiet. Actually, you know, let me surprise you.
Yeah.
This time, you know, because she visited recently, this time was harder.
Yeah.
My children
because
really
you know what it means.
Yes. I think, you know, the first time, you know, you get home, then you enter the house, and then
it hits you.
But, you know, as a father, I was trying to be, and these are my daughters, I felt like it would not be prudent for me to just be bowling over there.
Yeah.
The
children are also crying.
What's going to happen? So, I would encourage, you know, I'm telling them, no, it's going to be a short time.
Yeah.
You know, mommy will be here. We'll call mommy all the time.
All the time. We can talk to her.
Children adjust, you know, after a few days or so, calling, reaching. You know, now my kids have reached a point they've realized they can still talk to mommy about stuff. They just pick up the phone. Sometimes they may not be able to get her, but she definitely will call back and they will have a discussion. To some degree, that gives them some peace of mind. That communication is constant.
Yes.
You know.
She's still here for us.
It's daily, you know. Sometimes she's even sommering them about things.
Still.
You know,
a mother is still a mother.
One of my daughters was demanding for a pair of shoes that was incredibly expensive. And I told her, she's like, hey, give me the phone, let me talk to her. Where? Huh? Do you think money grows on trees? I'm someone is coming from international waters. And me, I'm just there like, you see mambo yangu. You know, as a father, because I'm the parent here, sometimes there's a need to overcompensate because you want the child not to feel like this would have happened if mommy was here.
Yeah.
So children can also take advantage of that situation and really put you in a corner where you are constantly doing things that they would otherwise not be getting.
Yeah. And what is it doing to your marriage? How is your communication? How are you arguing?
One good thing about us was we were always talking. We were always talking even before she left. It didn't change. Even when she was here, I would drop her at work. Then I drive to my workplace because most times we drove together.
Yeah.
And unless we had something that both of us were doing differently, then we would drive apart. And most days we were in the same car. So we would get to her workplace, I drop her off, I drive to my workplace, and then I call her. I tell her I'm at work. In my phone, our phone conversations, I've called her 4 or 5 times a day. Every day.
While she's in Kenya?
In the office, Upper. She'd call me like, we're just calling, oh, this has happened, this has happened. So our translation of communication never changed when we didn't have to improve. When you're already talking, you'll always be talking. You'll always find that points which you're talking. Do you know, sometimes I'm sending her a voice note and then she's sending me a voice note. I should show you on my WhatsApp. And then we are both laughing like, hey, I was sending you a note.
You're also sending me,
It's 7-8 hours.
So it's something you cultivated.
So that was a good thing. Arguments, yes, we once had a really how do I call it, heated argument over the phone.
Oh, I don't like the over the phone arguments. It's cruel. I want to argue with you here.
And then because you have had an argument.
Yeah.
So now your wife doesn't want to call you. So maybe the wife, you know how you ladies are in the morning. You've not received. It's morning.
Yeah.
Because here it's about
4 p.m., 3 p.m.
We're behind.
Oh yeah.
So 11 p.m., 12 a.m. is her morning.
Okay.
And 4 p.m. is her midnight. So it reaches that time now, just here because I'm a jam, and you feel bad. So we had to quickly bridge that gap. We had a discussion and we agreed that the only thing we have, the lifeline we have, is communication.
It's bundles.
Let's not cut it. We don't have time to show each other dust physically.
Yeah.
We don't have that time to, facial expressions where you can nuna and someone can see you're nunaing in the corner there.
Yeah.
All we have is this communication. And if we cut this one,
we are done.
Then we are done. So we have, the good thing is it has improved our ability to be able to share our ideas.
Yeah.
And to listen. The voice notes have helped because, when you're listening to a voice note, you're listening.
Yes.
You're
listening to the tone.
You can't jut in with your manenos. Sometimes you're listening to the tone, you're listening to the actual explanation.
Yes.
It's actually in your ear and you can replay and listen again. And then you can answer.
Respond.
That has really helped us even in getting to understand how someone is feeling and what they are saying about a particular issue. So that even you then respond to what they are saying and not to necessarily some words you feel like, this word means this to me, so let me just jump right in.
It's because of these experiences. If she left in your first year of marriage, do you think...
Oh.
What?
Where?
I'm not even finished asking. It's the experience you are writing about.
I would not advocate for any couple to do that.
Oh.
No.
I know.
I think there's a time, there's a moment of which the car has to get going and has to get used to a certain momentum.
Yes.
And for it to get there are a lot of hiccups. You bring two people together who've been living very separate lives, and all of them have got the way they were brought up.
Yes.
The way they perceive things, what they think is culture, what they think is the important issues in marriage or family or things like that. You merge them together and then they're constantly grinding against those things against each other.
Yes.
They're going to fight, big time.
Big time. For how many years?
I think it was probably 2015, 2016 and a bit of 2017. It's after I began to get sick that things really began to change.
Oh.
But I've wrote about that in my first book. And I say part of the problem was I was also struggling with a lot of issues personally that I had not dealt with.
Okay.
And sometimes it takes a lot of effort for an individual to sit down, assess yourself and what you are bringing to the table and the baggage you are bringing and your traumas.
Oh, yes.
And deal with them so that you do not spill them over to the other
party. Because they're also coming, as you said, she's coming from loss of another spouse.
Yes.
Oh. So if she went that year?
If she went that year, I don't think it would have been a very good idea. She might have even gone one way and just left me kwamata, honestly speaking.
Both of you were not where you are right now.
No. It's unfortunate that sometimes you have marriages and people are quick to throw the words. Like me, I'd come from relationships where we could break off at any point.
Oh, yeah.
So at any point we would have a heated argument. I'd
threaten
be the first person to say, I'd be like, you know what, this marriage can just end. But those things I found out really sunk in my wife had. So she felt that I was it was easy for me to throw it all away.
Oh, yeah.
And then one moment she said that to me. One particular argument, she told me, you know what? This thing can just end.
Ooh.
And stormed out. And she went and, actually she went and slept at my cousin's house. But at that moment in time, I did not know. And didn't pick up my calls and didn't what. And, you know, and the very next day, I was so affected. You know, it takes you like to the edge, and then we had to go sit down. We took a trip to Kitengela somewhere there, and we sat down and I told her, you know what, today let's just talk about all the issues we have.
Yeah.
Before I told her, you write down what you feel that's wrong about me. I'm going to write the things I feel that's wrong about you. Let's share. Me, I wrote, I think, 4 or 5 things. Her, she had like a page, and then it had like a back page.
There's so many things wrong about you.
She was detailed. She was detailed. She was like, you know what?
Yeah.
And that day, and I began to find out that, you know, there are things we do, even little ones, that really impact some of our spouses so deeply.
Oh, yes.
And we are very different people. A man can say, oh, my wife is just not understanding. And that could be a broad statement, meaning a lot of things that he does not actually get into to actually break down.
Yes.
A woman will say, this man does not understand this particular item, and this particular item, and this particular item.
And sometimes, what, from a woman's perspective, they're very small things.
Yeah, but and small things, everything.
Yeah.
So you remember how, you know, when Jackson was hitting on you, it was the small things. It was the opening of doors,
yeah.
the flowers.
That flower, say it
They are the way in, and also they are the way out.
Yes, very small things, but for you it's the big thing.
Yeah.
Ooh. So you went to Kitengela and sat down.
And it tuliongea. So you know, by the way, let me tell you what. Let me tell you something interesting my daughter was telling me the other day. You know, when you're in the moment when you're having a discussion with your wife, and you're talking about how the things that are going wrong in your life.
Yes.
And you're hearing about your wrongs.
Yeah.
You must be able to swallow a lot of mate.
Yes. Because to you...
And not retort, because you have said you have come to hear.
Yes.
Even when you want to think at CG what. So when my wife was around the other day, one of the things I promised myself is we're not going to get into an argument. I mean, we have 7 days. 7 days, how can you argue with someone in a 7-day period? Na mekuja after so many months.
Yeah.
So, you know how you ladies can be sometimes. We are driving, you're like, park here, move here. Ni. One day we're driving, me, her, and my daughter.
Yeah.
This 22-year-old, we are driving. My wife, Azuko, told me, slow down, ni, see that park there. I've done everything without a word. When we parked and she shook us and went to the shops, my daughter just said that, hey, Dad, leo si umemeza macha mingi, sita kunyonga.
In your mind, you're like 7 days.
She realized, me who would have told her, hey, I'm driving.
Yeah.
Eh?
Let me drive.
Didn't say anything.
So there's actually a good side to distance.
There's a good side. You learn how to be patient.
Oh, patience.
Yeah.
Because you have to wait for someone to wake up.
You have to wait for someone to wake up. Sometimes you call them and maybe they're in school or doing something. They might need to call you back. You have to learn how to understand them. The only thing you have is that. And people say, okay, don't let your wife go. CG, you'll keep her here. Can you really manage be someone's personal guard?
No.
I mean, we are here doing a show right now.
Yeah.
If our spouses were working in Nairobi, they'll be somewhere in Nairobi here.
Not even Nairobi.
How do you tell what they're doing? Who has guaranteed you that marriage cannot work without a semblance of trust? And trust is scuba diving. You just get in
go
and hope you swim.
It's a risk.
It must take a risk. It's two people who have come together. You've decided, okay, we are going to live together. We are both going to risk to be with each other. We've given each other our bodies, our lives, our souls, our trusts, our money,
Yeah.
The only currency we have
is trust.
Is trust. We take it off the table and we don't have a union really. So with that trust then must come patience. Because if you do not have patience, then you'll always be snapping at things that happen. For example, we are sitting here right now. A phone call comes, I'll not be able to pick it. I should be able to explain to her, I was in a show and, I was talking
You should be able to have told her before.
Oh, I did, yes.
Oh.
But, you ladies forget. We tell you itinerary. Oh, I'll be here. Then you forget. You're like, oh, you said, yeah, you'll go. Do you do that to your husband?
He just told me something.
He told you that, Cindy?
Yeah.
Nasahau.
But, you can't tell me 2 weeks before. Next month, on this date, I'll go to this place. I want to be reminded 2 weeks, a week. Today, I'm going to that place I told you. You get?
I guess it's like sales. They said a good salesman does three things. If they're going to talk to you about a product, let's say it's my book. First, I tell you about the book.
Yes.
Then I tell you. Then I tell you what I've just told you.
3 times.
I tell you what I'm going to tell you, then I tell you, then I tell you.
But your life is so rich. I just love now the way. How is parenting alone in a way? Hi, my name is Rawder Kidula Show, and I thank God for an opportunity to mentor young girls, teen girls, because I was one myself and I have a teen daughter as well. So how are you raising them? How are you mentoring them? This is not just a book, it's a gift of values. Together with my sister Rawder Kidula, we just sat down and had conversations surrounding our lives as teen girls, and we came up with 12 topics that are very relevant to today's teen girl. As a parent, as a guardian, as a mentor, you need to gift your daughter this book because it will change her, it will inspire her, and she will make better choices because of our experience, because of our mistakes, and because of the wisdom we share here. And we also approached our brother Sami Kaihuri, who is passionate about high school ministry, to do the same for the teen boy because of public demand. So Sami Kaihuri has great and rich content for your teen son. In this book, You Are Now a Man. Great topics, great motivation, great inspiration. So get yourself a copy of these gifts for your teen children or your teen nieces and nephews, and together let us impact this younger generation positively. How is parenting alone in a way?
I would say it's interesting. I actually share some of what's happening in my parenting because I feel like it's also part of what my kids are going through. I'm cognizant of the fact that what happens to me and my children now will determine how they treat me later.
Oh, yes.
You know? Especially now when I'm being alone. If I'm the kind of guy who, you know, is out there with women, drunk, you know, coming home maybe late at night, disappearing.
Not giving them attention.
On ends, they'll not.
Yeah. And the girls are big girls.
They're big girls. They'll not and they'll know. So I'm very cognizant of that fact. So I really try to be as responsible as I can and teach them through my own actions and not change much. You know, not that I was at home when my wife was there and now she's not there. So now I'm randa-randaing everywhere as a result because now there's a freedom to that, you know. So I try to really keep the consistency going. And the conversations. We have lots of conversations. I'm a very open book to them. I tell them about everything. My teenagehood, my mistakes, you know.
You are not number one.
No.
And perfect. And married your first girlfriend.
In fact, I was made a prefect for the dining hall.
Why?
And then after about a week, I was sacked.
What did you do?
I allowed my friends to sneak in before lunchtime and kula some nyamas. You know, they used to have, those days we used to serve from a big bowl.
Oh.
One person would be elected to serve the rest of the students. So my buddies came in and we scooped all the nice pieces of meat and there went my job. It was basically an act of corruption.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think by pouring out your life to your kids, they lose respect for you?
No. I think it helps them know that these challenges that they're facing are real.
Wow.
And we also face them. And that we can undergo and overcome them. And I really encourage parents. Okay, some parents say we cannot share everything. Fine. Don't tell the world, but talk to your children about it. They know. And when they're getting to teenagehood, by the way, that's the first place they begin to know that you're not a hero.
Yes. That's the time they start discovering,
Yeah, you know, you can sing to them how you are a what.
There's one who told me she has counted and discovered she was born before their parents' wedding.
See now.
She has counted.
Simple maths.
And she's 13, 14. So you better tell your child,
you better just
this
say,
happened.
This happened. These are the things that happened to us. We tell you this because we would like you not to become like us because of X, Y, Z. You know. And I think that way, if we all did that, we would have a better society. One that is okay with making mistakes, but also realizes that mistakes are not you.
Yes. I am not my mistakes.
Yes.
And there is no useless experience.
There is no useless experience.
I love the title of this book. This was the first one.
That was the first
right?
one. Yes.
How is this journey of writing taking you?
Difficult.
You write all the time on Facebook.
Do you know, on Facebook it's easier. It's like a post. When you write a book, here's what happens. You write a manuscript, you put up a book. You say in the book, I'm going to write about myself, my what, Then you print it out. Like for me, I have to read it to know what is, like I have to read a manuscript.
Oh.
When I begin to read, I see mistakes. So I correct them, then I send them to the printer, the editor, blah, blah, blah. Then the book comes out. The book comes out and guess what I see first? Mistakes. But I was told that writers don't finish their work, they abandon it.
Oh, yeah.
So these are my abandonments.
Yes. Oh, you abandoned that. So you launched this. When did you launch this?
I launched that last year in June.
And
this one, September 1.
Because I remember my husband buying on Amazon.
Yes.
He actually bought on Amazon.
Yes.
So tell us about this first one. These are lessons.
Those first lessons came from, the origin of the book was when I had cancer and I was going through the motions. Somebody visited me in the hospital and told me, I was writing about it on Facebook. First of all, I went public. I said, I've got cancer. It's in stage 3. I'm going through, colon cancer treatment, chemo, blah, 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 blah. And I began to document my journey. And it gave me quite a lot of following. I think that's the first time some people ever heard of me on the social media pages. And
somebody heard of you on Slim Possible.
Sasa hiyo ni mambo ingine tena. Unaona saizi?
What?
Vile tuna struggle.
You are on Slim Possible, right?
Tuko kwa struggles.
Many people knew you through that story.
Through that story of the proposal and things like that. Yeah, so during the cancer time, somebody said, oh, you should write your book. Put those posts into a book. And help people fight cancer. I began writing. Halfway in, I realized, my life is more than cancer.
Oh, yeah.
Cancer is just a chapter. God has delivered me from this, and this, and this.
Yes. I have learned
said,
this.
Why don't I write a book about my experiences? At the core of there is no useless experience. Even when you read my books, is a firm belief in God. That is why there is no useless experience. Every experience is designed to make us better ourselves, no matter how terrible it is. We can always find a silver lining from it. So that first book has got my stories about, how I grew up, and what happened to me when I went to the US and came back, and what happened to me when I fell into addiction and had to end up in a rehab, and what happened to cancer, what happened to me and my sister in the US as well. I also suffered anxiety and depression at some point, I lost a child. So I combined that in the first book and put it out there.
These are 20 lessons.
Those are 20 lessons.
What's your favorite chapter in this one?
The last one.
Find God for yourself.
Yes.
Why? Are you a PK?
Well, my father ended up as a pastor. He wasn't a pastor when I was growing up.
Oh, okay.
I grew up, by the way, in Sitam.
Oh.
When Valley Road was Valley Road.
NPC.
28 Valley Road, yes. I went to Fortress Youth Fellowship. My father was an elder at NPC. I woke up to the sound of him praying at 4 a.m. in the morning regularly. The Bible was not put down in my home, especially the verse of spare the road.
Spoil the
child. It was used very, very effectively in our house. And I talk about that, yet I went wayward. Yet I suffered from, I ended up in alcohol addiction, and yet my parents never drank. I never even saw alcohol in our home,
But now you've reminded me of the verse that says, teach them in the ways of the Lord. When they grow, they will not depart. You see,
even in those days, I used to know that I'm doing wrong. Let me tell you.
What was your motivation?
I have this thing I say nowadays. Be the voice in your children's heads.
Oh.
You know me, I always tell my children, like my daughter, I keep on telling her, you're not for local consumption.
Ooh.
I tell her, think internationally.
Don't
take a project in college. When I talk about a project, I'm talking about a boy. You go and live with a boy. You're there washing his clothes, encouraging him to study, making sure you're now his motivator, his mentor, you are his coach. And yet you have your own exams.
His wife.
I say basically he's your project.
Yeah.
And that project will not change.
Yes.
He'll become a husband, he'll be your project. You know, you'll continue like that in life. I repeat it. She said, like, Dad, you said that last week. Dad. That story again. I say, you know why I say it? Because I want to be your voice.
Yeah.
Even when I'm not there, you will hear my words. Those are the things I think, because, you know, the Bible said, don't just teach them, write them on tablets,
Yes.
put them on the walls. You know?
Yeah.
You know, by the law of repetition is what causes people to win. Think about it. You're not talking to your child about issues to do with life. You don't want to talk about drugs, you don't want to talk about sex, you don't want to talk about alcoholism, you don't want to talk about that. Maybe you say once a week. Or you send them to the youth camp.
Yeah, or to
and
Sunday school.
Mtu atasema huko. And then the devil is telling them on social media daily. He's telling them in class to their buddies. He's telling them everywhere. By the law of repetition, who's winning?
The devil.
Every time. So you have to be always constant. Sometimes you say it in a funny manner. You know, it doesn't have to be serious. Let's talk. You know, sit down here.
Actually,
I tell
the
you about
serious
boys.
ones, they can block you.
Yeah. Sometimes you're at a wedding and you're like, hey, how do you like those guys over there?
Yeah.
Na unaskiza, unajua. There is a father who was telling me how he went with his son to watch football, and some skimpily dressed ladies were walking by. And then the dad told the son, umeona ouch. Wanakala mgani. And the boy is 14, he's there so shy.
Sijaona. Why do men pretend they have not seen? Especially when they're with their wives. We have all seen that lady. And then my husband says, which one? Really?
Me, I don't pretend. Me, I use words like I always turn and I tell my wife, these are the things I don't want my daughter to do.
But you have seen.
But sayo tunaangalia.
You are telling parents
stuff on your channel.
You are telling parents to talk to their children.
I'm telling parents to talk to their children and have these conversations regularly. And when we do, by the way, we can all better society.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? There's really not a manual to how you teach your children, but because you are the person who is a constant there.
Yeah.
The advantage you have for the time they are under your roof is that you're the constant factor.
Yes.
Use it. Because a day is coming when they're out there. And
coming
somebody
soon.
else is constant.
Yes.
You know. And all you have is memories of what you used to say. So, this second book.
Wait. Find God for yourself.
Find God for myself.
Yeah,
yes.
You are still there.
I was still there. I was saying it's very important because even as a pastor's child, there's a God your father talks to you about. The God preached in Sunday school.
Yeah.
The God you hear in church. But let me tell you, until you find God
for yourself,
Isaiah 57 verse 1 says, you will seek me and you will find me. When you seek me with all your heart. All your heart.
Yes.
You alone. Now,
me.
Hakuna mtu Rodah.
Yeah.
And every person, every human being must get to that point where they must find that God for themselves. It's only then that you can have a real relationship with God. Not forced because you are bundled into the car on Sunday and taken to Sunday school. You know? Not cajoled because somebody came to your house and made prayers and, and anointed you guys with oil. But this one where you go and seek God. If you look at the lives of David, for example, you find that there are moments he's contending with God alone. Jesus himself taught us. He went to the mountain to contend with God alone. You must have those moments where it's now you're telling God, this is my life. I've messed up here, or I don't know what to do, or I'm not guided by this. And that's why when we make an altar call, we have to make you confess with your heart. Believe yourself.
Alone. And we're always told, don't look at the person beside you.
Because whether we like it or not, one day we stand before God and we can't take care of each other.
You'll be alone. You'll not
do anything for my daughter. My daughter can't do anything for me.
You'll not go as a couple or as a family.
Yeah. Much as we would like to. We always say, mpaka binguni, hii mapenzi ni mpaka binguni. Tight kama kifuniko ya gas.
I also love the way you... I love the way you've talked about money. What did money do to you? When did you learn the value of money?
Too late in life. I went to the US, got credit cards, blew money, messed up my credit. I was too young. My father was a banker. My mother worked as an administrator for a long time. And not to fault them, it's probably the way they were brought up.
Yes.
You know, discussion of money was not in our house.
You
went to school, you got
MPESA.
And I know many houses that never happened.
Yeah.
If you got some pocket money, well and good. But no one sat you down to tell you in this house, bills operate like this. This is how we make our money.
This is how we save.
And this is how we spend it. By contrast, the Asian community is very good at that. They take their children to their hardwares over the holiday.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you'll find a child seated over there. He's operating the cash box. He knows what's coming in. He knows what's going out. He knows how much the workers are paid. He has like a value for money. It translates into how he also ends up leading his life. So, for my children now, we do piggy banks for them. They save their money. When they want to withdraw to buy something that they really, really want, they have to sign a ledger. Then I match them. I either match it sometimes, or sometimes I don't match it. I tell them, okay, this is your money. You want to go and buy sweets? Okay, fine. But do remember XYZ, you know? And then when they ask me for money for pocket money, if they ask me for 2,000, I tax it.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
They must know how to ask, because taxes are coming. I mean, look at us right now.
Really?
Kama ulikuwa unataka 2,000 utapata 1,800. Ile 200 ni ya serikali.
Who is serikali?
Myself. Serikali is here. You know. I don't want them to wander around lost.
Yeah. Actually, for me,
shocked that there are taxes in this country.
I knew about taxes when I got a job.
See now?
So I have been told.
Okay, we joke about it sometimes.
My salary is 30,000. So I'm expecting 30,000.
See?
Hey, see? I called the HR to tell them.
We cripple our children by giving them the lack of knowledge. We say the people are perishing for lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
Now, not that I'm a very konogam tight guy who doesn't give chums.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll jokingly tell them, okay, this is what's happening. This is how much money you should have been getting. This should have been your tax.
Yeah.
That tax always ends up in their savings.
Yeah.
But I want them to understand that the money we make, this is what happens. You know, I show them. If I'm going to get 10,000 shillings, this is actually what your dad is going to make. I'm selling books. I walk around with them selling books. Yeah. You know, delivering what. And then I tell them, this is how much money I have to pay for taxes, for print.
And even printing the book.
For Nini. This is the actual value of the book.
Yes.
And what's coming home. And out of this, I have to save some money to make sure that if they run out, I need to reprint.
Yes.
So that money needs to be tucked away first.
Wow.
Then once I get my money, before I even go and, you know, buy chicken or chips or all those nice things, I have to make sure your lights are on, your water is on, you guys have got power. These are the important things. And I think because I lack them, and I always say, the best way to teach people is to ask yourself what you thought you wish you knew.
Exactly.
Back in the day. What would you have liked your dad to have told you?
I love you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So then do it. Do it. Turn around and be the advocate for change based on your experience. Because there's no useless experience.
There's no useless experience.
It only helps us to better ourselves. And, you know, inadvertently, there are also things we are doing that they will say they wish we did. Because none of us is perfect. But hopefully, because of our examples, they can also rectify them. And down the road, we can change generations as we go. Because none of us has got the blueprint that we are.
Our children will also look back and say, I wish my parents did this.
Yes.
Or we are parenting them basically also because of how we were parented. So we are still learning. All of us are just learning, right?
Yes.
So that was the first book. 20 Lessons from the University of Life.
Yep.
I would want us to go one by one, but those two are enough. You guys should get yourself copies of this book. And then you just launch this one.
Yeah, that's 20
This
more.
one looks smaller.
Oh, actually, we know what happens. This one has got, the font is, the cost of printing really went up. So what happened was, in order for me to reduce, to make sure that I'm not charging people 2,000 bob, and they're like, oh my goodness, your book has doubled. I had to make sure that I, you know, chonga the printing a bit, and then make just a slightly smaller book. But you will find that the pages are the same. In fact, that actually was a bigger manuscript than this.
Oh, but the font is smaller.
Yes.
So why another edition? These are 20 lessons, I can see. This is season 2, 21 to 40.
Yes, there are 20 more.
20 more lessons.
Yeah.
And you're
there were
still
always
living.
40 lessons.
Uh-huh.
Initially, this was supposed to be one book.
Oh.
But when I wrote it, and I began writing it, I discovered very quickly, through my Facebook posts, that we don't read. We still have a very bad reading culture.
Oh yeah, we do.
And many people will complain. If people are complaining a post is long, na kitabu.
If a post is long, will
So
you
I thought,
sit down?
let me
and
make a
read?
book that's palatable, because my target audience is young people, people who would have learned something from me growing up. Okay, some parents also, or maybe how to do some things. But those guys need to be able to read this book in 2 days, tops.
Yeah.
They don't want to read it. They'll start on a thing like this.
Watamaliza.
And you want them to get the point. So that's why I wrote a very relatable, smaller book, so that you can read it, you can pass it on to a friend. You know, you can be able to tell someone, oh, I read that book, and those are the lessons and that kind of thing.
Your favorite on this one? Your favorite lesson?
I won't say favorite. I'll say about the hardest one to write.
Oh, the hardest one to write. Which one?
I wrote there about, you know, I think the way I can paraphrase is being careful about the things you say, about what comes out of your mouth.
Not everything you think about needs to be said. Lesson number 35.
That story took out a lot from me, because it's a story about my relationship with my father.
Oh.
And how it blew hot, cold, hot, and then cold again.
Oh.
Yeah. And I wasn't sure whether to write it or not, but I have met many people who have had a terrible relationship with especially men with their fathers. And I am disappointed to say that I am one of them. You know, because as we sit here, we haven't spoken in maybe 3 years. You know,
till to date.
Yeah, but I tell the story and I tell how we arrived at that position. And I think part of the problem is some of the things I may have said.
Oh.
Even in the feeling that I was right. You know, we have got people who say, wacha nikwambie ukweli. And they imagine that because they want to tell you the truth, they can tell you the truth anyhow.
The way they, yeah.
But people don't listen to what you say. They listen to also how you say it. They listen to your intonation. Most men are annoyed with their wives, not because the wife told them, you know, you didn't take out the trash. It's because mtu anakuja hapo ati, sasa umekaa tu hapo na ufanye kitu. It's a very different way of approach. You know. Huh? And we all have to learn about the how.
Yeah.
Because people will forget what you say, honestly.
Yes.
But they'll never remember, they'll never forget how you made them feel.
Oh.
You know?
Yes.
That they'll remember, you banged the door, sijui, you clicked at them. The way you said it, utakuja hapa siku gani? You know, they'll even put that emphasis. It's the same words, utakuja hapa siku gani? Na utakuja hapa siku gani wewe? You know,
the how.
It changes the meaning.
Yes.
So
that's a very important marriage lesson.
Yes, it is.
It is very important. The how.
The how is so important.
The how and the timing and the when. You say these things.
Yeah. So that lesson was a difficult one for me.
Not everything you think about needs to be said.
Yeah. You need to have measured words.
Where is the thin line between
lying to someone and measuring your words?
I would want to tell you the truth. I can tell you the truth politely, with kindness.
You know what Solomon asked God for?
Wisdom.
Yeah.
That's what we should ask for.
We should ask for wisdom in knowing what to say where. Because the Bible also says that our words should be like, I forget the correct word, but our words should be kind.
Oh, yeah. We should speak to each other with hymns and psalms.
Our words should be, we should be able to impact to each other, even when we are saying things that require somebody to, you know, tough things that require somebody to take a step back and look at themselves. So that we are edifying each other, we are sharpening each other, and we're not losing each other in the process of the things that we are saying. We don't get lost in the words, you know. And it helps us also, so it's a learning process for those of us who are also hearing, must be able to hear and understand and accept to be corrected. But at the same time, we also must be able to speak with in a manner that is likely to achieve results. Because if I want to tell you, Rodah, that I do not like your set, which by the way I think is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
You know? I should be able to say it in a way that improves you.
Yeah.
Not a way that makes you feel like you need to stop this show altogether.
Can you talk to the audience who comment?
You know, and tomorrow you don't want to even get up and do it. I shouldn't be seeking to destroy you.
Someone is trying.
If I mean it from a point of love and brotherhood and sisterhood, you know, or for a spouse, if you mean it from a point of actually marriage, bettering your spouse, then you must be able to say, because this is your person, you just want them to get better. There's some two things maybe they have done, combo. Then you must be able to speak life into them so that as they better themselves, it betters your union.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you lose the process. You have a worse union because of what you said and how you said it. And no one is winning. You know. Hata somebody hataki uongee sasa because
because the how you say it, they don't even want feedback from you.
They don't even want feedback from me because wanajua tu
and you know,
toxic too.
The funny thing is when most spouses, when your wife tells you something in a bad way, you'll meet a woman who will say it, a random woman.
Yeah, and you'll enjoy that story.
At work, or maybe Jackson tells me something and I don't like the way he said it. Then I go to the mall and someone tells me in a very nice way. The devil always just positions.
Yeah.
And we go where we are celebrated.
Yes. We all like accolades.
Yes.
There's like a thing, let me tell you, why do you think waheshimiwas have such a difficult time? You know, when you see someone overlapping on traffic, one day I was complaining. And I was talking to a guy who's a former mheshimiwa. And he was telling me, we KONES. We hujaika kwa Prado.
Yeah.
Na iko na Cheska. Na ina overlap traffic. And when it stops, somebody's jumping out to open the door for you.
Yeah.
And people are saluting you. He told me the day that happens to you, it will go to your head.
Oh.
It's very easy. That whole fanning you know, before you pick up something, you're called excellency.
Yeah.
You know, you're called excellency for standing up. Honorable for just walking out of the door, for just entering, and umekuja late. And you're late to the front.
Yeah.
Those things can really mess with us because inside of us, all of us are looking for some attention, some affirmation, you know, some ability to tell. Even you tell a child, even the one who's trying to walk, tell them that you're doing very well, Daddy. You're walking from this table to this table. They're going to try it 50 times.
Yes.
Sometimes they're walking, looking at you, just wanting you to say, come, good boy. And then you see it. It's happening. All kids were walking when we were clapping. Sindio? Those first few steps, you remember how it was? You're like, Baba, Kit, Baba, Tembe.
We record nowadays.
To your
first
affirmation.
Step, yeah.
Which is why even those of us who are fathers of girls are so careful about affirming them. Like me, I make it a mental note. You go to the salon, I must say something.
Please.
I never used to.
Oh. You have learned on the job.
Learned on the job.
You didn't even notice.
I would say it to my wife because it's my wife, but then I realized I need to say it to my daughters.
Yeah.
Hey, you look so nice. That was such a lovely hairstyle. Hey, you did that well. What other hairstyles would you like to do? They feel that attention.
Yeah.
So that some random boy out there doesn't say those things, and just because of telling her hairstyle is good, I become a grandfather.
Just like
before
that.
My time.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Hey, you need a whole day to explain all this. You have so many lessons. And I love the way you are so raw and open. Does it scare you?
Initially, yes. Nowadays, I tell myself, if you cannot tell the story as it is, don't tell the story. In fact, I advocate for that. I tell people, your testimony is somebody else's moment of grace, of hope. Rhoda, if we didn't sit here and had not gone through cancer, how can I tell someone God heals? If I hadn't gone through addiction, how do I go to a rehab and talk to an addict and tell them you can beat this? We cannot hide the bad things that happen to us because those things God allows them sometimes to happen so that we can be platforms to other people who are trying to get out of the same vices, because people are trying to battle things all left, right, around the corner. Some of us Christians are in church. Some of you people who are watching me today, you went through so much trouble in your lives, but you've never told a soul. You cannot even give a testimony about it. It's a dark part of your life that you want to keep completely shut, yet God delivered you. Yet God delivers you for one purpose, for His glory, not your silence.
I'll give you an example. I hosted a couple from the UK who got married, divorced, and they're back together. from that, there's so many Kenyans who have now texted saying it also happened. I'm like,
and where are you?
No, but you know, my husband can't allow me to come talk, you know, and separate. Do you know how many couples in church have separated? And for the congregation to just know, oh, even you left for 1 year and you reconciled. Oh, you also separated. It encourages people.
It encourages people.
Who divorce for, sorry to use this word, but smaller reasons. Like if Levi went through that, then he had to, we can
solve this one. Yeah.
We can solve this one.
Because imagine people are going through things. You walk in town. Sometimes I always tell my daughters, everybody's in town. They've come from somewhere. Some of them, we don't know where they slept.
Oh, yeah.
Many of them are carrying so much baggage. You know, somebody's there just to walk around aimlessly. Another one is there because they are heartbroken. Another one is there because they are sick. They don't know where they're going to start from. Another one is there because the son is giving them trouble because he's in addiction and things like that. People are going through so many different things. And that is why stories and channels like yours are channels of hope. And some people even who watch silently, still suffering silently, just hoping that, you know, because they can hear this, something in them will change. Then maybe God sees you and sees your position. Then he changes you. And then you go and shut up. You're no different than from that person who never went to say thanks.
By the way, testimonies.
You started walking around as if you are always seeing.
We are always
Why are you always seeing? You know, Jesus killed you. Uko tuna. You're busy. Tangatanging with your new eyes. Not telling. Not saying it was the Lord. It was the Lord who did this for me.
I went through ABCD, and these are the lessons that I have learned, you know. And like this one, you can watch with your teens as well. Teens can read this as well.
Teens can read.
Because there are stupid things we do as teenagers, and we don't listen.
But you know, teenagers, there's that point. Even my daughter reached that point. I was telling the sister, your sister thinks I'm an idiot. There's a point that
everything.
Where they think their parents are fathers.
And do you know at that
For
point,
some
because
level,
I also have a 16-year-old, and at that point I've also discovered, because I was also that.
Yeah.
As a parent, you also want to show them
that you know.
I know.
Yeah.
That is where we lose each other.
Luckily, it's a phase. We have to get them out of it.
Yeah.
Because once they pass that phase, they'll enter into a phase where they realize that you do know some things. They can sit under your feet.
Yeah.
They can ask you some questions about life. But in that moment of teenagehood, they even don't want to hear from you so much.
Yeah.
They want their role models, and there are people out there and YouTube and, you know, so and so, and they think that
they want other people on YouTube, not your mother. She's also on YouTube.
Do they watch you?
My daughter.
I hope. Do they watch you?
My daughter, I think when I started interviewing women and marriage, she was like, when our mama wako? Oh, nenda kwa mama wako.
Ama unaika kwa TV unasema ona.
Now that can't work. But now the book we've written with my sister, now that one I'm sure we've gone through it with her. Even the writing process, she was part of it. So yeah.
I wrote a story here about my daughter in the second book.
Oh.
About a challenge I had with her when she was a teenager. And a certain boy.
Ooh la la.
Yeah, and how I handled it as a parent.
Give me a teaser.
But I had to tell her. I had to tell her. I had to ask her for her permission to.
Oh yes, you
to tell the story, because you know she would have been mad at me forever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But it was basically a story set during the pandemic time. You remember the time when people would go for. They would go for this. What's it called? Teasy in the morning. You see, many youth started going out in the morning, practicing running, jogging, that kind of thing. So something happened within that period where I discovered that my daughter had, you know,
like a boyfriend.
Yes, and she was then in Form 4, just about 17 years old.
Yeah.
And the guy was in college, and
how did it make you feel?
Where?
No.
Kwanza, you know,
where is not an English word.
She would leave at 5 o'clock in the morning to go and ride a bike. Day 1, day 2, day 3, the mother told me, something is happening, get out there and see.
Yeah.
So I'm being poked in the ribs early in the morning. Mina vota mtoto, I go into the estate, I take a turn. I saw her with that guy, and he was pushing a bike and he was like bouncing beside her. I'm telling you, the way he was bouncing, I knew I was in trouble. Of course, so long story short, she came home. She was
you didn't?
No, I came back and told the mom. I actually said hi to them.
Oh,
and they went on walking. You know, in our days, a child would have run back home.
Yeah.
This one is continued walking. Even introduced me to the guy. This is so-and-so. He comes from that house. And the guy did not give me the correct house number. So I went back and told my wife, this is what's happening with the child. And then she told me, and you left her there. Of course, my wife stormed out, went and dragged her back. After kuombewa, kukemewa, and all that with her sisters. I took time to take a drive with her later on because I went on to find out who the boy was.
Yeah.
Discovered that he also had some problems at home with his dad, you know. And it wasn't kind of encouraging for me because, but I felt convicted in my heart at night that I was that boy.
Oh, yeah.
I used to be that boy. So I took my daughter out and I started candidly telling her, as that boy, what my plan used to be.
And what was in your mind? What your intention?
Actually, that topic is called sex is overrated.
Ooh la la. Is it?
You need to read it. Well, that's what we end up here.
Wait, the last question I have for you, I know you. The last question I have for you now is just generally for marriage. Before you tell us how you can get your book, what has made your marriage work with the knowledge you have right now?
With the knowledge
as
I have
a husband,
yes. I would like to say me, but anyway, but no, not at all.
We know your wife, so.
I think I can say that, honestly speaking, at the core, and without looking like we are being very cliche about it, at the core of it is a constant effort by the two of us to always have a conversation with God. Even the times we have been mad at each other, we always pray. We all agreed we will be praying.
How do you do that?
Okay, most of that time I'm the one who does the praying, but we pray. We pray. When we were here, we would hold hands. To Menuna, we hold hands, we pray at night. We're like, God, there's nothing much we can say, but just help us. And then somebody can turn and look at the corner. And let me tell you, over time we've come to realize that if you do not have a calling for God in your life, then it doesn't put you under any authority to question yourself, your decisions, and to allow the Holy Spirit to ask you what you could have done better, and to actually give you suggestions on how to handle something. If you allow it to just run over and you're not subscribing to God, maybe you subscribe to the bottle or something, it only gets worse. In fact, I don't understand how people who don't, where they now get their guidance from, So us, the prayer has always been a constant. We pray. That one is a fact. It doesn't matter. Even now in Australia, we pray. She'll call me before she goes to bed and we will pray. I will call her at that particular time and we will pray. Now it's even twice because kuna good night meal. But I think at the core of that, God has always been working behind the scenes. So even when we have had the nastiest moments, we have been able to find a way back. Nowadays we laugh at some of those moments because we think we cannot possibly have a very big one in the future. But I always say, well, even as we do that, we are cognizant of the fact that it still takes work to continue and not to be too relaxed. And to take each other for granted. We've been 10 years.
Yeah, we'll do this.
I won't end up happy.
They live even after 30.
My parents left after 38. They broke up after 38 years. And that shook my foundations.
Ooh.
Where are you going?
Yeah.
At 38.
For a young man who is getting married this weekend, what advice can you give them?
If you're getting married this weekend, just, this weekend.
You're not even watching this right now? Okay, 1 month in marriage. They're not watching.
We are this weekend that are you Are they watching?
1 month?
They don't even listen to the sermon at the service.
The service, even PMCC.
They don't listen to that one.
So
like Maril Araka.
It's 2 months in marriage. Now reality is sinking in. Now they have found this channel.
Yeah.
What do you tell
One of the biggest mistakes I made before we got married is we didn't go for counseling.
Oh.
It did us some damage. I do know that there are some people who give proper counseling.
Yeah.
And I would encourage everyone to have some amount of counseling. I mean, you're going to read an instruction manual when you're opening a new TV.
Yes.
Then you want to fungua a box that contains your wife with no manual. Right? utafinya vitu umie. The best thing is to have a kind of idea, and hopefully churches can also go beyond. And I know some churches already do that.
Premarital.
I want to ask, be real. Those couples who come to teach, man, be real. Don't come and tell us we've been 25 years of marriage, we've never quarreled, you know.
Yeah, I've never been mad at each other.
You know, I always look at him and say, my gosh, Shugwa, how are you doing? No, don't lie to these young people. Please tell them about your challenges and how you have gotten there. Now we see you, we admire you, we like the fact that you're out there. But if possible, if you're going to be in the marriage counseling, open up your hearts. Open up your story. Tell those people you're counseling the truth. That way, young people can learn that it may not be all rosy, but it's possible.
Yeah.
And you know, living with someone takes some time, takes some tweaking, you know, take some adjustments here and there, get some give and take.
Yeah.
You know, and it's okay sometimes to lose your in marriage, because as you lose, the union is winning.
Oh.
Which is the key thing.
The union.
So you can either win
or lose.
And lose the union, or lose and let the union win.
You can win the battle and lose the war.
And lose the war. So if you're always there trying to balance yourself and ask yourself, and there's no such thing as we must be at balance. Sometimes some things you're going to lose to your wife outright, like choice of curtains, choice of what's going to the kitchen. Wachana na hiyo vitu. Allow the woman to be the woman. You know. So that you don't have to be constantly there, okay, you're ticking, oh, yeah. Ulisema curtain ni green, na mimi nimesema viti ni red. Bro, step off.
Really?
Wachana nayo. You know. So that you also have that healthy aspect of realizing that the woman may be in a position where she is very knowledgeable about many things. You may also be knowledgeable about some things.
Yes.
Let's bring them both together and make it a happy union. And not necessarily because we have competing ideas, but because our ideas are there to build us a better framework for our lives.
Wow. We have had.
Yeah.
How do we get there? Is no useless experience. If you haven't, you first have to start with the first 20.
It's better because, you know, sometimes I make reference. I say in lesson 4.
Yeah, in lesson 4.
To make people go back. Lesson 4.
I need to go get lesson 4. So where are they available?
Available at Nuria Bookshop. But some people want a personal touch. You can reach me. Am I allowed to give my number?
Yes, please.
You know my number is everywhere now.
Yeah.
0722 470 238. That's 0722 470 238. You can WhatsApp me, send me a text message, tell me where you are. You'll get the book. And
how much is the book?
1,200. So now 2 books is 2,400.
2,400, and you get the 2 lessons for you and your generation.
Ukiona hiyo number ni kama ingi mzuri, you can send some MPESA just to check.
Check the name.
Just to check. Inakubali 100
you need a day. You need a day to talk about all this. But thank you so much for sharing.
Half an hour ago.
Yeah,
my goodness.
Thank you so much for your time. I know nimekutoa kazini, but we really thank God for you. Thank you for watching. What have you learned? And if you have any other question, you didn't get the number well, you can always comment. He's on social media as well, on TikTok, on Facebook. LEVI KONES.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. God bless you. I'll see you again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll see you in the next one.